We are back at the UAE Tour for another year, and I'll tell you what, this is a fantastic place to get you all the latest and greatest road tech because all the teams are in the same hotel with the same paddock. So I've got you a lot this year. Enjoy. This is undoubtedly the most head-turning bike in the Pro Peloton in 2026. It is the Factor 1 that was released late last year. So we saw it at the Tour de France being used at the time by Israel Premier Tech. Since then, that team has changed name and changed bikes. So Factor is not in the World Tour in 2026, but they are here at the UAE Tour, courtesy of George Hincapie's new team, Modern Adventure Pro Cycling. This is the bike of Byron Munson. Cool story on him as well, which I'll tell you a little bit later on. But first up, the bike. I mean, the bit that is the most eye-catching is obviously the forks and also the seat stays here at the back. They're a real flair design. The forks in particular are so chunky at the front. It's really distinctive on the road, but we have seen it used on the track before with the likes of the Lotus bikes that Team GB use. This bike can also accommodate some very wide tyres, up to 34mm, which sounds obvious to say when you look at the flare of the forks and of the seat stays here, but actually the chain stays are not really much wider than fairly standard modern Aero road bikes. Now onto that wind tunnel data then, and I'll remind you this comes from Factor themselves. So they claim that this bike in the wind tunnel is 22% faster than a Specialized S-Works Tarmac SL8 and also 14% faster than a 2025 Cervelo S5. If true, that really is quite remarkable and would make this the fastest bike in the Pro Peloton. I think that is the claim that they're making. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this bike in the comment section down below as well. I promised to tell you the cool story about Byron Munson. He's a South African rider who's in the first year kind of fully fledged pro, I would say. Started off very successfully. So just a couple of weeks ago at the Saudi Tour, he finished second on the final stage, which was the Queen stage behind Jan Christian of UAE Team Emirates. But he came from the Zwift Academy finals, which we featured on GCN back in 2021. He didn't win that, but he's persevered ever since. And I spoke to him the other day and I said, I'm so happy for you that you finally hit the big time and you're racing these huge races. He's 28, which is about the same age as I was when I finally got my shot at the big time at the Cervelo test team. Let me remind you. So well done to Byron Munson, cracking start to the season, and apparently he does not want to use any bike but this one for the entire road season this year. I've been speaking to Sam, the mechanic at Modern Adventure Pro Cycling, about the SRAM force that I spotted on the bike as I brought it back. That SRAM basically showing the world that you can compete at the very top level without having the very top-end group set on your bike. Also, some Michelin prototype tyres that are normally for their time trial bikes, but because the roads here are so smooth and relatively flat for the opening stages, they're trialling on the road bike as well, which is interesting. Don't think Michelin are in the World Tour and haven't been for some time, unless I'm wrong. Right, Ineos have got some new wheels, so follow me over this way. I have talked about teams that have swapped out bike manufacturers as their partners this year, but Ineos Grenadiers, they remain with Pinarello, new contract just signed, but they have swapped out their wheel partners. These new ones are from Scope. So previously they had a partnership with Shimano, but they were also using other brands as they saw fit for different events. Scope is a Dutch brand which is reasonably young. I think they've just celebrated their 10th anniversary. They'll be using these on the road and in time trials, and also for any off-road racing they do. They don't have Tom Peacock anymore, of course, but they do have Connor Swift, who quite often competes in gravel racing, etc. Nice looking wheels. The ones that I've got here are the two choices they've got on the moment for the road. These are the Artex 60s to my left, and then the Artex 40s to my right. That obviously means they're 60mm and 40mm deep, respectively. I can get my words out. This one is for you, Cy Richardson. Take a look at this. This, my friend, is called a chain keeper, and it is still being used in 2026 by World Tour squads. Absolutely ingenious device. I had to show you this bike from Groupama-FDJ this year. This is their Wilier Filante SLR. I'm showing it to you for obvious reasons. This paint job is standout. I mean, this looks like it would almost glow in the dark. The red is just so bright, and I love the contrast here of the blue on the top. I think it's absolutely stunning. Groupama-FDJ and Wilier are amongst the teams who are using special aerodynamic bottles on their road bikes, along with the Lidl Trek guys. Another thing I like on this bike is this clip over at the front here. Pull that off, it reveals everything that you need to access to change the steering, remove the stem, tighten it up, etc, etc. I think you'll agree, it looks pretty cool. Give it marks out of 10 in the comment section just down below. I'm going to give you a quick update on bike bags and bike boxes. I did this last year at the UAE Tour. Those of you who watched that video remember that Chicon, or Cycon, however you say it, are the dominant brand when it comes to bike bags in the pro peloton. Slightly more diversified, I would say, this year. Still got a few cardboard boxes lying about, but this is Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, who are sponsored by Evox, so they've got all these soft bike boxes here. And I've also noticed that there's some elite bike bags as well over at Decathlon, not Von Rizal, is it? The 6 digits or the 6 letters that come after Decathlon. I must learn that team name. There are a couple of men's World Tour teams that had a complete overhaul when it comes to their bike sponsor for 2026. They being NSN, who, along with changing their name, have moved from Factor bikes to Scott. I'll show you those bikes later. But also Bahrain Victorious, who, after a 9-year partnership with Merida bikes, are now using the Italian Bianchi bikes here. Bianchi, of course, sponsored Arcaea B&B hotels for the last few years, but after their demise at the end of 2025, great to see the Italian brand still in the top flight of the sport. This is Damiano Caruso's Ultra RC road bike. Standout thing for me on this bike is the handlebar and stem combination, the cockpit there at the front. I mean, a lot of the top teams and top manufacturers, their handlebar and stem combination is starting to look quite similar, but there's something about this one which I think looks stunning and delightful, I'm going to say. Now, I think when this bike was first launched late last year, there were a few traditionalists in cycling who were slightly disappointed it wasn't Celeste all the way through the frame and the forks. This blue in the middle is a deep space blue, I think they're calling it. It's actually transparent at points as well, so you can see the naked carbon underneath. But there is that Celeste fade here at the end of the rear triangle and also at the bottom of the fork legs there as well. Now, the group set predominantly is provided by Shimano with their Dura-Ace Di2, of course, but the crankset is from a Chinese brand called Wilier, which I'd never heard of before. I just had to look them up. And there's also a Chinese brand that provides the power meters called Sigei, I think it is as well. So a lot more Chinese brands getting in on the act when it comes to World Tour sponsorship. Now, Caruso has obviously been doing this sport for a long time, and as such, he said no to shortening his cranks, still on the 170s, even though he's not a particularly tall rider. One thing that hasn't changed for the team Bahrain Victorious, though, is their partnership with wheel manufacturer Vision. These wheels are the Metron 40 SLs, which were introduced last year. In fact, I think we saw them for the first time here at the UAE Tour 12 months ago. They have the option of the SL60s as well. Those of you who keep a close eye on the international GCN channels will already have seen this brand new bike design, because my Spanish colleagues, Sebas and Bernat, have already taken a look at Tom Pidcock's bike from Q36.5 this year. That's no longer their name, though. As of 2026, they are known as Pinarello Q36.5, Pinarello therefore being the headline sponsor of the team. They've changed over from Scott from last year, and that wasn't a big surprise, because when Tom Pidcock arrived at the start of 2025, he was already using the Pinarellos in the off-road disciplines. And now the owner, or the majority owner of Pinarello, is the same as the majority owner of Q36.5, so that all made sense, and they've made the switch to their road bikes in 2026. Anyway, this is their design. You can see it sort of in the flesh here. You're seeing it on video. I can tell you that in the carbon, it looks absolutely stunning. Sort of dark blue, shades of black there towards the bottom, and then all the livery in the gold. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. But you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I am here with the spare bike of Isaac Del Toro of UAE Team Emirates XRG. And now, interestingly, last year when we tried to look at Pogacar's bike, they were at pains to make sure it had the proper Shimano setup without all the extra lightweight components that he generally uses. This year, it feels like they must have had some sort of agreement with Shimano that they are allowed to use some other componentry. Interestingly, the spare bike does have the Dura-Ace chainrings, but we saw one in the paddock a couple of days ago that had the Carbon-TiGCN chainrings that most of the team are now using. He's also got the Carbon-TiGCN rear derailleur hanger, the through axles, and a couple of other components as well. We actually took a deep dive on Del Toro's bike a couple of days ago too, and that video of his time trial bike and his road bike will be on GCNTech very soon, so stay tuned for that. And that is a wrap for another year here at the UAE Tour. Once again, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, click on the thumbs up button just down below. Stay tuned for more content from this race as well, including a search for the strongest rider in the peloton using a grip strength meter. I hope that goes down as well as I think it's going to go down. It's been thoroughly enjoyable to questionnaire the riders and get them to do this. Anyway, we'll be back with that soon.